Howdy. Welcome to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast, Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. That's Ian Ferguson. You love Ian Ferguson.
Me, I'm here.
You tolerate myself, Pat Country. On the show today, we'll be talking about Game & Watch. Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch came out. Billy Mitchell, Billy being sued for fraud and racketeering. You hate to see it.
No, you don't.
You hate to see it.
You don't.
We're also going to be talking about Patreon poll topic. We have a Q&A. We'll see what else comes up. Ian, how was your weekend? What did you end up doing this weekend?
So my weekend was, what did we do? I worked.
Work?
But Vonnie and I finally caught up on Adventure Time, which ended 2 years ago. I think we had been watching it pretty regularly and staying up to date on it. And then like season 5 was something like 52 episodes. They had them working in like overtime. They were pumping out like an episode a week. So
it was like 3 regular seasons.
And I mean, granted, Adventure Time episodes are about 11 minutes long, but still,
okay.
52 that's still about
26.
Yeah, that's still about 26.
All right.
Episodes. And we just fell off because we had been taking so much in. But I don't know. It's COVID times, and everyone's got time to catch up on things, so we did, and that was fun. Other than that, I played a lot of PC Engine and continued to play Dragon's Lair, trying to get that perfect run.
On your Replicade?
On the Replicade, yes. I received a Replicade kindly as a gift from a listener that wishes to remain anonymous. And I will say about the Replicade, very, very highly impressed. I was very into it when I saw it when we talked about it on the show. But I that night talked myself out of buying it because I was like, I don't need
$125? What is
$120.
$120.
And I felt like that it was probably going to be worth the cost, but was it something that I would use? I don't do a lot of collecting of scale figures or anything like that. It's just not a hobby I've ever gotten into. So this nice person offered to send me theirs, and I received it, and I use the thing a ton. I just leave it on my desk where I do music stuff or where I have to do writing for the podcast, and I turn it on and I drop the volume on it because I like letting the attract mode run.
Dragon's Lair.
Yeah. I like the lights and all that. It's really nice, and it's definitely big enough to use. I mean, it's a little weird, but it's not like a game that requires a lot of... It's all timing. It's not like I'm trying to do intricate combos and stuff like that.
What is it, a foot and a half?
It's a foot.
It's a foot?
It's a foot, but it occupies that space more than you would think a foot would. It's probably about this tall.
That's not a foot.
Well, it says it's a foot.
This is like 16 inches, probably. 18 inches.
But yeah, no, it's nice. But because of that, I've also been practicing a lot more on playing it on the trilogy on the Switch, which I got from Limited. I bought that from Limited Run Games. I realized that I have Dragon's Lair on like everything. I have it on my DSi. I have it on my 3DS. I have it on my PlayStation 4. I have it on my Switch. Can't get enough of that. So
I have the DVD somewhere.
They did the DVD and a Blu-ray version as well too.
DVD I think went up in value. At least when I bought it, was harder to find. That was like probably like mid 2000s or something like 2003 or 4. I have it somewhere.
I might still have the Wii version too, or I might have sold that because that was worth something at some point.
Or I might have sold it. But I know I had it because I ripped the ROMs for that, or I believed I used it in the main cabinet to rip the ROM somehow. I think I did that instead of searching them. I just bought that and ripped them. For Daphne.
Because you need an image for Daphne, and that's the easiest way to do it.
For Time Warp. Because I think it came with Time Warp, and it also came with Space. It was a trilogy. It came with a trilogy. That's right.
Yeah, for the past, I would say 12 years, pretty much all those releases bundle them together.
Yeah, remember that bad Kickstarter? Poor Don Bluth, he did the Kickstarter.
Oh, for the movie? I remember we covered it.
To get the money to do a promo reel to get the money for the movie, and it was all the...
I would love to see Bluth do something else. I would love a Dragon's Lair movie, but the fact of the matter is Bluth is getting up there in age, and I think the time is running out. Yeah, I think he's in his early 80s.
Well, you can get the Replicades. There you go. Well, I don't know if he owns the rights to the game or at this point, or who does. Or
I don't know. Digital Leisure does. I don't know that Bluth has
Leisure.
it. As much as I enjoy the Dragon's Lair games, I mean, looking through, it's totally just one of those situations where the ownership rights have just passed hands a billion times.
What's Don Bluth up to? Don Bluth is 83. 83 years young up here. So good for you, Don Bluth. We love Don Bluth here. But that was not the best Kickstarter. Flea Market Madness.
Yeah.
It's out. Volume 36 is new. It's fresh. It's hot.
Fresh as in how many years ago is the footage?
5.5 years.
5.5 years.
May 2015. I put that scroll down now. I should have done that before. But usually I'd get only up to like maybe a year behind editing, and now I didn't edit I didn't edit for like a year. 2018 was a horrible fucking year, so I didn't do much of anything in 2018. And then now I'm starting to get, this is the third one this year. So next year I'll probably do like 5 or 6, and then I'll go up to 50. And good thing because like people are like, wow, you know, are we going to see any more in the future? And I'm like, well, even without COVID, the last time I went to the swap meet and I spent like $1 on a mouth guard, unused mouth guard. So there's nothing that much on the swap meet anymore. It's just trickling out very slowly. But in 2015, you can still find some stuff. But even in then, it was starting to die. Like 2015, that I would say around 13, 14 is when it started to tail off about that. Yeah, check it out. Frank was in rare form. Frank actually got angry for the first time at a Flea Market Madness. I won't tell you why. It's a silly Frank reason why. He wasn't angry at me. Well, he kind of was angry at me, but more angry in general. But check that out. And then I'll do a short spoiler. Found TurboGrafx stuff at that swap meet. It's like it probably could be the last time I found TurboGrafx stuff at that swap meet.
Wowza.
Yeah, Ian's he's impressed.
I'm impressed.
It's 4 yawns in a row. He's impressed by that. So that's what I did this weekend. Other than that, yeah, I edited the Flea Market Madness for like 5, 6, 7 hours on Saturday. Then, of course, I found a couple errors on Sunday. But if you could have seen it early. If you're a member on YouTube, click that join button. You could have saw it early, Ian. Yeah. And you get segments from the podcast early as well. It's fantastic. Oh, I also did my Patreon Google Hangout. That was fun on Saturday.
I should do mine this weekend.
Yeah, you should. Ian, you want to talk about
exciting stuff?
Yeah, pocket operator excitement.
So, Teenage Engineering, who we've mentioned on
Engineering Turtles.
We've mentioned on the podcast before. They're a Swedish design company, electronics company. They make very aesthetically pleasing things. I have a lot of hands-on experience with their stuff. I own their first big synthesizer, the Teenage Engineering OP1, and I've owned a lot of pocket operators in the past. They announced, and they're also they were tapped to help design the Playdate, which is I think what caused us to first mention them on here. So they're releasing 2 new entries in their pocket operator line of synthesizers. What the pocket operators are is they look like calculators. They're about calculator size. They're essentially a bare circuit board onto which all the components are placed. They almost always have 2 knobs, a bunch of buttons, and an LCD screen. And it's a traditional segmented LCD screen like you would see in a Game & Watch or a Tiger handheld. And those graphics are always custom done, and they give it a playful look. There's no like game hidden on them to play or anything like that, but they use it as an interesting way to convey information to you as you're programming your tunes, such as what step you might be on or if you have effects on or something like that. So they're little cheap synthesizers, and they are rather impressive in terms of what they do. They do what they say on the tin. Some I think were better than others. So they're putting out 2 in conjunction with Capcom. We're getting the PO-133 Street Fighter and the PO-128 Mega Man pocket operators. So these are nice. The Street Fighter one is black and red, and obviously has segmented Street Fighter graphics in the LCD. The Mega Man one is blue and black, and also has matching Mega Man graphics. The Street Fighter one operates more as a sampler. It has an onboard speaker. You can record live with it. It has 40 seconds of sample space, and it also includes a bunch of Street Fighter samples and things of the sort. That's $89.99, and to me, I think it's a copy of their Knockout Pocket Operator, which was an earlier sampler one that they released in the lineup. This one just happens to have the Street Fighter branding on it, and I'm actually really interested in this one. And then the Mega Man one talks about how it is basically an NES style synthesizer.
Ooh.
I'm interested in checking this one out. Some of the previous pocket operators that I've had do act as like mini simple synthesizers. Some, like the arcade one, were more like sample back players. I'd be interested in the Mega Man one if it has Mega Man samples and also allows you to create more of your own. That I'd have to look into. Given that it has the higher price tag, I believe some of the pocket operators at least did start as cheap as $60. I know some of the more full-featured ones have been slightly more expensive. I'm sure the branding is also helping the price on these a little bit. But honestly, for under $100, if you just want something musical to play with, that's, not actually a ripoff. They're not as much of a toy as they may look like. These are very cool. I think these will sell very well. The Mega Man one is, the Street Fighter one's already out. You can still find it online. I checked because I'm trying not to press that button. And the Mega Man one comes out on December 2nd.
Nice. What's the deal with the two different versions of each here? So one looks like a calculator, like the blue Mega Man one.
Those are just protective cases that you can buy and put over them.
Oh, those are cases?
Yes, those are cases that you can buy for them. You don't need it, but there's lots of accessories for teenage engineering stuff. They're fairly well built. I never put cases on mine when I had them, although, the case does look nice. If it's available, I think the case usually bumps the price up like another $20-$30.
They're like very hard plastic.
They're like soft silicone.
Oh, that's a lot of money for a case, but I guess if you want to protect it better,
from what I understand. But like I said,
it looks like a little thing to hook it around your wrist. It was like a little lanyard thing.
Yeah, it looks like it comes with like a wrist strap.
These are adorable.
Yeah, they come packaged in a cardboard sleeve. They've got hang tabs on them. They're meant to be impulse purchases at places that would stock them.
Impulse synthesizer electronic music purchases for that electronic. Hey, I was at one point in college. I put out a few albums there. Got as small notoriety I could while I was recovering from my ACL surgery and diddling with electronic music there. So that's cool. It's not cool, Ian. Swatting's not cool.
Swatting's not cool.
Not cool at all. So I saw this like over the weekend or Friday that it was like tweeted out, there's like a hostage situation at Ubisoft Montreal, and thankfully it was just a hoax. It wasn't for real. But it still sucks that you got to deal with this horse shit here. So Montreal police evacuated the offices of video game developer Ubisoft Montreal on Friday afternoon in response to a 911 call about a hostage situation that was later confirmed to be a hoax. So, this stuff sucks. I don't know why you would pick a corporation like this unless you didn't like Ubisoft for some reason. But obviously it was good. Everyone was okay. Nothing horrible happened. But obviously it can happen with swatting. There's always that chance that someone gets shot, and it has happened in the past. So they should fucking find whoever did this and fucking throw them in prison for 20 years. If they can do that, you hope.
As noted by Frank Cifaldi, this is also one of those times where we should probably be careful about who we're retweeting in terms of news. There was a lot of news with rumors going around, I guess, that was being retweeted, and it was by, if you took like 2 seconds to look into it, it was like by a far-right website that had interest in seeing the destruction of the left and all this stuff, and it was just like
associated with Ubisoft.
No, it was about retweeting the news, basically. Fanning fire. So just saying, be careful about where you're retweeting stuff. If you're retweeting news about something like this, make sure it's from a reliable source.
Yes, I think that's a good point. Any news, you should verify if it's from an actual news source that's tweeting it out and not some bullshit. But that's the one thing we haven't caught up to social media and information spread. Our frail, fragile human brains haven't caught up to being able to, look into what's real and what's not and think for ourselves. In the 10 or so years where social media has evolved, it hasn't even really been fully 10 years where everyone's on Twitter and Instagram in a large amount, less than 10 years on Twitter, for sure. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It just sucks, but thankfully, nothing horrible came from it. There, Ian.
Yeah.
You can purchase wares for the holiday season.
Oh,
we're a week and 2 days from Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This year is like, this year hasn't counted. It's like it's a do-over. This year hasn't counted. But you can go to ultimatenintendo.com, pick up some stocking stuffers, some enamel pins, CU Podcast enamel pins, RBI baseball stickers, certain NES Super Nintendo guidebooks, and more. Not for resale Blu-rays. That's the scissors I used to cut from this. I've sold like 70 stickers. Hasn't made a dent in this toilet paper Costco roll of RBI baseball stickers. Hasn't made a dent in it. But yeah, check it out, ultimatenintendo.com. Also, I'm on Cameo. And I was just reminded because I have to do 2 cameos. Cameo.com/PatContry. Birthday shout-outs. I'll roast your friends. I'll talk trash about games. I had to defend Clax one time to a video game group. Someone was like, to explain why Clax is a good game to this person in a group that thinks Clax is a bad game. So I had to break it down from how Clax is a good game.
Clax sucks.
It's a good game.
No, it's not.
It's a good game. It's a solid game from Atari. I love my mid-'80s Atari arcade games. Love them. They're all fucking fantastic there. And also I'm on Twitch once a week. May not be Wednesday. I've settled on Wednesday or Thursday. This week might be Thursday. Twitch.tv/CountryCode. I usually start around 5 or so p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Central, what is that, 7? I don't know. 6? I don't know. I don't know the time zones. But yeah, check it out. Trying to have fun there. Ian, what's about Atomiswave games being ported to Dreamcast?
I do.
You're excited.
So,
yawn number 7. Is that a yawn or a stretch?
that was a strong.
Strong.
Strong. So Atomiswave games are now being ported to the Dreamcast thanks to the ever-advancing technology in optical drive emulation. So Atomiswave was an arcade system set that was popular in the 2000s. It ran a lot of fighting games and stuff like that on there. There were some SNK games as well. And essentially, it was like another board set from back then. It was essentially a Dreamcast. Sega's Naomi hardware was essentially a Dreamcast, and it used GD-ROMs, so it used optical discs. The difference with Atomiswave is the Atomiswave was a Dreamcast, but instead of using optical discs, all the stuff was on flash cartridges. So there was no reading off of the disc. It was a much faster transfer speed. Because of that, it wasn't always easy to get arcade perfect ports of Atomiswave games, because of how the chipset would take in the information and read it. Well, it's one of those situations now where technology has kind of caught up to the point where you can essentially recreate the Atomiswave hardware at home. So if you take one of those OneDrive or those optical drive emulators, like say the mode that we've talked about, and you install it in your Dreamcast, you're eliminating the disk drive and you're replacing it with the ability to read information off of RAM cartridges. Mm-hmm. So people realize that, okay, well, once you've done this, we're basically looking at Atomiswave hardware. They've gone, and over the past couple weeks, they have just been pouring out ports of Atomiswave games, many of which have never seen home ports at all before, and they're perfect ports. You couldn't really argue with them. And then they're in some instances they're adding widescreen support. They're adding auto fire to games like Metal Slug 6. So certain games that have been added have been that have been ported have been King of Fighters 11, Deep Blue, Faster Than Speed, and a bunch of other stuff that just never really saw the light of day.
So Metal Slug is on here.
Metal Slug 6.
So you're getting these arcade games to come on a Dreamcast, right? And these are games you would never have dreamed in the past. It's like, oh wow, look at these games now. Look, we can do all this stuff. So I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, wow, it would be so weird back in the day to see these as Dreamcast games. Some of these, it would like blow your mind. Seeing some of this stuff, like Neo Geo games. There's a what is that? There's a Samurai Showdown.
Yep, Samurai Showdown 6.
Very cool.
Direct arcade port. So yeah, it's very neat. And I wish I knew a little bit more about some of the unreleased games, but I know people are very happy because now they're getting to the point where they're able to emulate those, or well, as they say, it's not even really emulation. They're getting to the point to
It's just running it directly.
Yeah, they're just running it directly, and they can start to pull graphics and stuff like that.
So basically, you with your optical replacement drive, you load the ROM on, and then it just reads it, basically, and it just plays it.
Yeah,
like a regular Dreamcast game. That's amazing. It's incredible. It's stupendous. It's fantastic. Sorry, that's all I have to say about it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, there's some YouTube videos about it. Check it out. What are these drives? You should go for like a 150, 200 or something like that.
Somewhere between 100 and 200, depending.
Like
I think the mode, the one that can be used for Saturn or Dreamcast, I think is 200. But I think you can get some of them for as cheap as 100.
Okay. Real quick, this came out this morning. Tom and Jerry trailer. I don't know they're making a Tom and Jerry movie again. I watched the trailer. I had a slight chuckle. It's it looks like traditional animation. It might be a CG traditional animation combo, but it's live action, so it's putting the cartoon characters in the real world, unfortunately. And I can't stand that. I hated it with Smurfs. It's a cheap cop out. It looks like they have the tone of Tom and Jerry back to the classics. 60 years ago, there's the same amount of over-the-top violence, things like that. So that's good. They didn't go soft on that. They didn't go, oh no, the kids. But I just don't understand why make an animated movie. You don't think an animated movie is going to sell? And so I don't know. I'm like mixed about it because I love Tom and Jerry, and obviously they've been out of the limelight for so long. And there is a market for a movie like this, I think. But the live action thing is a cop out to me. I know it's probably cheaper, man, in the grand scheme of things. To maybe it's not. I don't know. I guess you can get cameos and get people that are celebrities to show up in it, but it just kind of rubs me the wrong way to see this. I don't know. It's like, what if you saw fucking your Peanuts movie was in the real world? You'd fucking you go nuts if it was like Snoopy walking around in real life. It's like do it up animated.
Yeah, I would rather see a fully animated movie. I don't think I'm as anti it as you are. My whole thing with this Tom and Jerry movie is I like Tom and Jerry cartoons a lot. They were my favorite growing up. But the traditional cat and mouse chase ones, I just don't think Tom and Jerry needs a movie. I would love to see
They've had one before, I think.
Yeah.
Was it the 90s?
I think they did.
Tom and
but
Jerry.
I just don't...
92.
The joy is in the chase. I don't need a whole lot of fleshed out backstory or anything with this. I mean, if this comes out and it's good and people enjoy it, great. I would have much rather have seen them put the money towards making a new series of shorts.
Well, it looks like they're forced out of their home, so they leave as friends. They shake their hands, and then they end up in It's always New York City, and then he's hired by the hotel to take out, instead of an exterminator, I guess you get Tom instead. That's the conceit, which is the conceit's actually cute because like Tom's forced to, go after his friend again. They have a love-hate relationship, which is the best there. But yeah, it's just a shame. I think there's a room for something like this that would be animated. But I don't know where is it even going to come out. I didn't even look. I just saw the trailer. I was like, okay.
I feel like people just throw out movie ideas now without ever stating when they're going to come out because they might never come out. They're just going through the paces.
It says only in cinemas. I mean, obviously this is animated. They've been working on this for a year. So, give us those vaccines so we can get into movie theaters again. Fucking shoot me up. Like that Saturday Night Live. There's a Saturday Night Live commercial skit where it's a doll to give the HPV vaccine to girls, where it comes up with a syringe and injects the girl with it. It's like the funniest fucking thing. We need that for the COVID. A little action figure that injects you without you knowing. It's like, oh,
oops.
Yeah. So check out that trailer. That's all I said about that. More news in the I guess quickly dwindling video games journalism sector. I mean, at this point, it's like every other week or month we're talking about this. So it looks like all the US Gamer.net staff was laid off. The editor-in-chief, Kat Bailey, news editor Eric Van Allen, staff writer Nadia Oxford, and reporter Matthew Olson. On Twitter, reported they no longer work for the site at the end of the year. This was a smaller website. We'd referenced it a couple times, I believe. So they were parent company ReedPop, which also owns GamesIndustry.biz, which was reported on this. Instituted a round of layoffs across its gamer network sites, including US Gamer, in September, and subsequent departures have cut the team down to 4. So they're going to stay around, I think, till the end of the year. So it's not clear what's going to happen with the U.S. Gamer site once the staff is gone. If they're going to keep it around or fold it up here. Yeah. I don't have a huge amount of familiarity with U.S. Gamer.
No, neither do I.
I know a couple people, or at least I heard people that worked on it, but you go to the website and they cover, looks like modern stuff, Demon Soul remake review. There's something about the PS5 price. Super Mario 3D All Stars Sunshine is not compatible with GameCube controllers. So there's some articles there. Looks like they're still keeping it going. It's from today, so they're pumping out articles and new stuff there. So hopefully they land on their feet. I think they're getting paid out to the end of the year and work until the end of the year. So that's good. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Like 2 years from now, there might be nothing left but like fucking IGN might be the only thing left in GameSpot. Where people are actually, paid professionally to work on this stuff, not doing their own websites.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely seems like it's just further narrowing the online, I don't know, game journalism landscape. I'm surprised, despite obviously changes and whatnot. What is it? It's IGN, it's Kotaku, it's Polygon, it's GameSpot, and as far as the old guard, like corporate style is concerned, it's really just IGN.
How long's GameSpot been around for?
I just feel like GameSpot's not going to be around as long. I thought something was happening with GameSpot recently that we talked about. Didn't they just lay off a bunch of employees?
Oh, they've been around since '96. Them and IGN are the two oldest ones left. Where's GameSpy? They around still? No, they've been gone forever.
GameSpy is no longer around.
I played Warcraft 2 off of GameSpy off the bat. How was it both it was a game site and also you used it to play multiplayer games?
Briefly, I don't remember. I feel like that's what it started as, and quickly no one was using it for that.
I used GameSpy back in the late 90s. I used that. WWE, Ian.
Yeah.
So we talked about how they were doing the handover. Talked this a week or two ago. How by early November, you had to get rid of your Twitch accounts, anything third party if you were a wrestler. Twitch account, you had to give up things like that to WWE because they didn't want you making money, I guess, outside of the company at all as an independent contractor. So everyone said, AJ Styles said, okay, no, this is going to end, and just about everyone did. Zelina Vega, the wrestler, said, fuck you. I am not giving up my Cameo. Excuse me, not my Cameo. OnlyFans she started, and her Twitch. She's like, no. Paige said this is bullshit before. So she was fired. Before she was fired officially, 10 minutes before, she said we need unionization in wrestling, but she was going to be fired before that. So she started her OnlyFans, and she does like cosplay stuff in there, and probably making a decent amount on there. So not a surprise they made an example out of her to make sure that everyone else stays in line. But again, the heart of the issue is that these are supposed to be independent contractors, not employees. If you're employed, yes, there's rules you got to abide by. But if you're an independent contractor, technically that means you could work on other things.
Right.
You're getting 1099. I can work on 5 different jobs at once from getting 1099 from everyone. So she wasn't using, she was using a real name on this. She wasn't using Zelina Vega, WWE name. So when you do that, there's no argument WWE can have about you're not using any trademarks that we own or anything we created. You're using your own face and body that you own and your voice and your name, because that's what Paige is doing now. She's using her real name on her Twitch stuff, or wanted to. I haven't even checked in to see if she's still doing that stuff. But we talked about how even before this that this might be the watershed moment where people are like, this is fucking bullshit. Enough. Stop treating these independent contractors basically like slaves.
Yeah.
And not being able, not only they're not able to wrestle anywhere else. Technically, if you're an independent contractor, you can wrestle elsewhere. In the indies, even in people that worked for AEW are allowed to wrestle elsewhere. They actually treat them like independent contractors. Like you can wrestle in AEW and New Japan, and you can do the indies if you want on your own time, as long as it doesn't interfere with what we have booked for. WWE, you can't do that. You can't show up anywhere else. You can't do anything with WWE's permission. I don't think you can do a fucking commercial without telling them. Like you can't do anything. Like So this is ridiculous, obviously.
Yeah,
but this got a ton of attention. This is good news. A lot of people now are made aware of this that weren't aware before.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's just a way, the independent contractor thing is just a way for Vince to phrase things in a way that lets him get away with not providing his employees with certain benefits and services.
Sure.
And yeah, it's disgusting. And I mean, especially now when during, this certain public health crisis where business is probably down all around, to punish your employees for having the gall to go out and, I don't know, lift themselves up by the bootstraps. Isn't that supposed to be a fucking talking point? And, finding new ways to make money. And then to punish it, I think is ridiculous. None of the things that these people are doing is going to reflect poorly on the WWE, and I think that's one of the main reasons. Also, is he doesn't want them doing something
control
on an OnlyFans, that might make the company look bad. But then you handle those situations as they come.
Sure. They probably don't want someone saying something on Twitch or being overly political. That's part of it. But they also want to make money off it. That's the thing. They want to make money. So what we saw was that like some of the money would go towards your, like I said, your downside guarantee. So you're basically then using your personal account that you built up to make money for the company, where you're an independent contractor, not an employee. It doesn't make any legal sense at all. So good old Andrew Yang, that we all know and love, he tweeted about this. It's got a lot of attention. He said, if I'm not the Secretary of Labor, I'm pretty confident I'll have his or her number to talk about the ridiculous classification of WWE wrestlers as independent contractors while controlling their name and likeness for years, even for something as benign as Cameo. So this is gonna get handled with the next administration potentially, because this is bullshit. And I'm not saying this is gonna change the entire wrestling scene. I'm not saying there's going to be unionization for wrestlers, but at the very least, WWE, if they're really independent contractors, they're going to fucking treat them as independent contractors.
They're either going to change the name, or they're going to treat them as
or make them employees.
Yeah.
In reality, and then give them full benefits and compensate them more for travel and things like that they're not doing right now. It's horseshit. You can do that. Treat these people with respect. That are killing themselves for your company. I mean, Paige,
I feel bad.
Paige was crying. She was like, "I fucking broke my neck for this company twice, and you're treating me like." Yeah, you're absolutely right, Paige. You can tell them go fuck yourself, like Zelina Vega did. She's basically said, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah,
I'll bounce back somewhere else, and I'll make money, do my own thing. And she'll go to AEW or TNA or whatever else. They'll pick her up because she's talented as hell, So. Yeah, that's all. I don't want to. Then again, that's why I'm not watching wrestling anymore. I mean, definitely not WWE.
No, it's just too fucking depressing. It is impossible for me to watch wrestling and not think about a million other things about wrestling that I hate.
Yes.
While I'm watching wrestling.
Yes. It's like, people are getting injured. Okay, that's fine. But then it's like, okay, they're getting treated shit like behind the scenes, and then people are getting punished, for talking about stuff, and it's enough.
Yeah.
Enough. Fucking Vince McMahon's a carny. Always said that. It's run like a fucking carny corporation still with him at the top. I will not watch WWE again until Vince McMahon is out of power and things change. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I can't see anything that would get me back to it until he's gone.
Get him the fuck out. I'm just sick of it. All right.